Yo, what's up guys? Bill here, Classic Rock and Metal Review. Time for a bootleg DVD review. This one for Van Halen's Tokyo Dome 2013 pro shot video from Tokyo, Japan. And a pretty cool one. You got a couple options with it on the bootleg market as far as your label that makes it. We're going to be talking about the Shades DVD-R. Of course, you got Zodiac Silver Press out there too. So this one came out first, so I grabbed it right away, and I'll just have to live with it. So, but we're also going to talk all things 2012 and 2013 with VH. Different Kind of Truth, the regular album. This would be the regular album right here. Looks exactly like the Deluxe Edition that I just picked up a few months ago, just coincidentally. And we'll talk about the bonus disc on this one. It's a DVD, just 3 songs on there, but it's pretty cool if you can grab it at a reasonable price. I recommend it. Of course, you can see it on YouTube too, so no worries there. But specifically, we'll get to a review about the Tokyo Dome video, the full show, 125 minutes, same length of show on Zodiac and Shade, so no worries there. And then, not to be outdone, the audio version of the same show on Zodiac. Double silver press CDs on this one. So give a little synopsis of it at the end of this guy, but specifically we're going to focus on the video. However, like I said, let's talk about the whole reunion thing in general, and of course a little band history. The band forms in 1973 in Pasadena, California. The original lineup of David Lee Roth, Eddie Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, and Michael Anthony released 6 albums between 1978 and 1984. However, David Lee Roth leaves the fold in 1985, of course, replaced by Sammy Hagar. They do 4 albums with Hagar, 1 with Gary Sharon in 1998, I believe. David Lee Roth back in the band by 2006. However, Michael Anthony, the bass player, original bassist, is out. Wolfgang Van Halen in as the replacement bassist. So no new album, but there was a 2007 tour with that lineup. And man, I thought it was a great concert, the one that I saw anyway. So that tour lasts into 2008, actually. I got to see the 3rd show of that tour in Philadelphia, October 1st, 2007. Wachovia Center, they were calling it that week. And on to 2012, so it's 4 years, but the band does get a new album out, A Different Kind of Truth, their first one with David Lee Roth in 28 years. And as I mentioned, just happened to pick this up from a used CD site, Japan, and I think it was $12. Deluxe edition of Different Kind of Truth with bonus DVD, so we'll get into that in a second, show you all about that. Those 3 songs live were one of 2 small warm-up gigs the band did leading up to the 2012 tour. They did a show in January in New York City, and then the 3 songs live acoustic that appear on this Deluxe Edition were recorded at a Henson Studios in LA, and that would have been on February 1st, 2012. So they also did a larger warm-up gig at the LA Forum February 8th that technically wasn't considered part of the tour. So let me get a drink. I'm getting parched already. It's summertime, man. The time is right for listening to VH. I knew there was a line in there somewhere. Little Tito's and pineapple orange, quenching my cockles. Now the weather has finally changed where I'm at. It's just how it is every year here. It looks like London or Seattle until the very end of May, and all of a sudden it's summer. There's no spring here. Interscope Records puts this out 2012. There's nothing new on the CD. Same 13 songs as the standard edition. The DVD, like I said, the 3 songs from that Henson Studios, Los Angeles, February 1st. So quickly, let's talk about the album itself. I don't know how you guys felt about it. I really liked it a lot right away. What are we talking? February 7th, I think was the original release date. I might have had it a week later, so I had it pretty quickly. Heard Tattoo on the radio a few times. Liked it. It was good. Didn't love it. Once I got the CD though, She's the Woman. Man, I just loved the hell out of that tune, I know it was an older one, as were many songs on the original record. Borrowed bits and pieces from some old stuff and all that. But man, I almost wore She's the Woman out, honestly. I actually bought the song off iTunes just to have it on my phone, even though I own the CD. I didn't have my iTunes in my phone or anything like that. I still don't, actually. But man, I really dug most of the record, honestly. She's the Woman was my definite favorite. But I remember telling my buddy Rick, talking about this record, maybe a month or so after it was out, and saying, you know what, I really don't think it's great, but I can't stop listening to it. And he was like, you know, I feel the same way. So that was kind of cool to two people that used to love VH back in their heyday. You know, we got into Van Halen when they probably had Diver Down out already. So, but right after Diver Down came out, we were into VH. So highly anticipated 1984, you know, which we liked. But anyway, I don't think I liked anything as much as She's the Woman back in 2012. Probably Blood and Fire was my next favorite, but there were a bunch of good songs. I really appreciated, and still do, How Hard This Thing Rocks. I mean, this is a heavy record. You stop to think about it. What Van Halen album is heavier than this? You could say Fair Warning and maybe the first album. This is probably their third heaviest record with the Dave lineup, you know. So that's kind of cool. They weren't going for mass appeal with this one. Hard rock metal album, in my opinion. So, you know, here we are, 2024. So with all the Tokyo Dome, you know, concert DVD and concert CD bootleg hoopla, playing this again, you know, I got this right before I got those bootlegs, so threw this on. How do I feel about this album now? I still like it a lot. I think it's got a lot of sort of complex parts in it that keep you interested years later, you know, and 15, 20 listens in, it's still interesting. And, you know, not made for mass appeal. So it's got something that grows on you, you know, but there's enough on there that you like right away. So I thought it was a really good album. I'm actually into it more now than back in 2012, to be honest with you. Tattoo, I think, has aged really well. I thought it was just a good song before. It's actually one of my favorites right now. So that's pretty cool that a song that, started out as just good, here it is 25, 30 listens later. I like it more than ever. Blood and Fire, I used to like a lot, probably my second favorite. That's now my favorite. I love that song. I don't know why they didn't put that in the set list. It's like made to be played live. And kind of does have a little bit of sort of commercial appeal to it in a way, you know. And just the whole look at all the people here tonight lyrics. It's just made to be done on stage, but I haven't heard of them doing that song. As Is another one of my favorites off of here, and it was back in the day. It's like everything just sort of, She's the Woman kind of dropped down, probably partially from me beating it to death years ago. But everything else seems to have come up a notch. So Blood and Fire was probably my second favorite. That's probably my favorite now. As Is was my third favorite. Now that's my second favorite. So, and Tattoo is up there now, believe it or not. But kind of like everything, and a little bit more than I used to, really. Great album, and really love it. And I really kind of wish they would have played a little bit more from it. Overall reviews at the time, I think, were generally like mine and mostly favorable. I do remember reading this one review before I owned the album, I think, right when it came out, and I had it like within a week. So right away, and I'll paraphrase him, but it basically said it may not be another first album or another 1984. And I think what they meant was in terms of, hit potential. But summer's coming and there's a new Van Halen album out. Life is Good. That was how the review ended. And man, that stuck right in my brain, because I just thought it kind of summed everything up perfectly how I felt at the time. And you know what? It's kind of history repeating itself a little bit this year. As summer finally on us, at least where I live. And being into VH, having a new video to watch, some deluxe DVD action, all good. So, all right, let's talk that deluxe DVD itself. It's some pretty cool stuff, albeit only 3 songs live. It's filmed in black and white at this Henson Studios, fairly small room they're in. They do Panama, they do You and Your Blues, and Beautiful Girls. There also was one other song filmed. So if you go on YouTube, you can catch this version, 16, 17 minutes, or you can catch a version that's more like 20, 22 minutes with, I think, You Really Got Me on there too. So this DVD version, official version, only has the 3 songs. So sparsely but tastefully decorated small studio with just basically these like carpets hanging off the walls behind the band. sort of thing. Acoustics for Eddie and Wolfie. Wolfie's on an acoustic bass. Alex just has some bongos and a conga there too, but I'm not sure if I ever see him play the conga. It's a loose kind of fun jam. It's just the band only in the room, and it's in black and white, which really is pretty cool. Eddie, great, listening to him noodle, you know, especially these, there's a couple of little extended parts, you know, where Dave's just kind of rapping, and Eddie gets to noodle on those parts, which is cool. And there's a really quiet section of Panama, the one that they do, you know, in the regular version too. It's longer here, and the noodle in there by Eddie is awesome. Dave is an even bigger clown than usual here. Somehow he's less annoying because he's so entertaining, you know. Sometimes live with the full band, he's just not doing much except stare and hold his arms up and stuff. Here he's kind of like talking the whole time whenever there's these quiet parts, extended parts. Free form storytelling a bit, you know. He's part comedian and part cool frontman in that order, you know. So it's actually, even though he's clowning around a lot more than usual, it's actually pretty interesting, fun stuff to watch. So, you know, I know these guys. Here's something interesting that came out of watching this short video for me. I know these guys came from Southern California and grew up in the late 60s or 70s, but I never made this connection before. Background vocals here, they're really, really clear, you know, being that they're just playing acoustic guitars. So maybe that's part of why, but these background vocals are really reminiscent of Beach Boys. And I just never picked that up on that before in that wall of sound that is the electric band. Well aware of Michael and Eddie's harmonies. When I'm walking around singing VH to myself while I have it on, I'm singing those backgrounds more often than I'm singing what Dave's singing. So love the harmonies Van Halen does. I just never drew a line to, you know, 60s pop music, which I guess now I think I'm always going to now that I've seen this video. So that kind of brought that out, at least for me. So vocal harmonies here are awesome. The cover art on this deluxe edition, as you can see, same exact as the regular album. The DVD itself doesn't even have song titles on it. So here's your regular CD. Familiar with that. Let's check out the bonus DVD. You just flip it around. And all it says is DVD bonus material, you know, if you look closely on that guy. So, like I said, You Really Got Me is also part of the show, but not on this DVD. So, you do get an OB strip. I got it stuffed into that little tray, which is kind of cool. And you also get, as standard deal with these in Japan, a whole booklet of the lyrics in Japanese. You know, so that's kind of cool. Same standard booklet as you get with the American release here. There's nothing different about it at all. So there's your deluxe edition of the CD with that bonus DVD. Now on to the tour itself. The Different Kind of Truth tour starts February 18th, Louisville, Kentucky. Also got to see this tour, this one in Philadelphia, March 5th, 2012, and then in Atlantic City, March 24th, 2012 also. The North American tour ends June 26th, 2012. So now on to 2013. They have a half dozen dates. Some of these sort of makeup dates for canceled shows and such, but basically a Pacific tour, I guess you'd call it. They do one show in Sydney, Australia. I think that was originally supposed to be multiple shows, but just the one there, the Stone Music Festival. There's a DVD out there of Van Halen and Aerosmith. And I think one of just Van Halen also. That's from April of 2013. So 4 dates total in Japan in that time, June 2013. So 2 festivals also in the US would follow in July of 2013. That would be the end of that tour. So this video coming from Tokyo, June 21st, 2013, the only show in Tokyo. Recorded and released as official live album, as I mentioned, but no official video from it. So this is pretty cool. So video specs, let's just talk about this thing overall. Interestingly, while this thing's pro shot, not standard concert video grade, you know, in terms of production value, not even like in-house feed level of production, really. Although it could be, but surprisingly, you know, pretty underwhelming, especially in tech-driven Japan, you know. And what I mean by that is there's only 3 cameras here, and mostly really just 2. And mostly of those two, really just one. You have a camera fixed at the corner of the stage in front of Eddie. Another one occasionally staged right in front of Wolfie, which does have enough of a sort of wide lens to capture the whole stage. But they're really most of your views, and occasionally you get this view from maybe 30 rows back straight on dead center of the stage where you can see the whole stage. That's it. Very sort of bare bones in terms of camera work. I'm not seeing other cameramen around in any of those shots. So I don't think this thing was really pro shot, just generally basic production value, like I said. So luckily, what does help things a little bit is that infinity image on the video screen behind the band, if you remember that from the tour. And that kind of helps provide a little bit of action, sort of effects, you know, that 6 to 8 repeats of whatever's on the screen back behind Alex. So occasionally you get some brief video replays of mostly Dave running around stage, just for 3 seconds, that repeat right over top of the live music. So now what I'm talking about here is what I watched, the Shades version. I don't know if Zodiac has a little bit different of a tweak on things, if that post-production was a Shades thing versus the in-house actual raw footage. But that's what you get as far as picture goes. Now, picture quality, it's crystal clear and like perfect, and filmed in widescreen, 16:9. So excellent pro sound, doesn't really get any better as far as quality. So folks, we finally have a complete concert video from the mighty Van Halen on David Lee Roth reunion tour. You know, hopefully we'll get something from 2007 eventually, but for now we got the 2012 Different Kind of Truth tour. So 23 songs, 125 minutes. There is a guitar solo and there is a drum solo among the 25 songs altogether, but it's 23 full songs plus 2 solos and an intro and this odd David Lee Roth short film. Must have been shown on the screen during the actual concert, so they leave it right in place here on the video. So it's kind of cool. And again, it's 100% excellent quality on that short film. So it just goes to show you that this is recorded right. This is the actual footage, not something just filmed off the screen behind Alex or something. So the true short film is right here. So I'm not sure if they lifted that off the internet, if the band had released that already, but this is just 100% pro, excellent quality. So as far as this video, you get standard, top menu with song select. You can either pick a song or play all. They're your only options. Par for the course with these bootleg DVDs. So let's get into the set list a little bit. Intro is nothing. The band takes the stage, and then we go into Unchained. Kick-ass, never heard a bad version of Unchained, and still never have. Heavy as ever. Great to hear it's still around 2013. Running with the Devil, I really like how Wolfie starts it. He's got the bass like straight up in the air, thumping those 4 bass notes before Alex comes in. So that sounds great. I kind of wish Wolfie was a little louder overall for this whole show. His bass is there. You kind of got to listen for it, and it's not real chunky. It's kind of a little bit of a guitar tone to it, sort of. Not for this little intro to Running with the Devil. Sounds mean. Sounds like a bass should sound. But unfortunately, that's kind of not how it is most of the show. Running with the Devil's good. Crowd's loving the intros. She's the Woman, so the first from Different Kind of Truth. And Eddie sounds amazing on these riffs here. That bridge, had to write the new bridge. The original bridge, I think, was it Mean Street or something? So he has to write a new bridge for She's the Woman now. And I really like this new bridge better, actually. For a while, when I heard the original version, I kind of missed not having that, I think it's Mean Street, that bridge in there. But now I'm liking the bridge that he wrote for Different Kind of Truth kind of better. So, and Dave, as usual for this tour, singing roughly 60% of the lyrics as he should. That's just him. If you're not used to that, this is going to be a jolt to you. That's how Dave, it seems like, always was. Of course, he's probably worse than ever by this point, with singing when he feels like it versus singing actually when he should. But par for the course for Dave by this point, all right? All right, I'm the One. This version here is killer. I mean, this ranks right up there with their old days version. I don't know, it's just so crazy how concerts can be like this. Someone could sound really good or just okay, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere they sound as good as when they were 20, you know. And I'm the One is the first, I think, killer performance here, although it's been a great show up to this point. Eddie's just old days sick here on the guitar. He really is. But really everything just sounds great. There's a cool moment here where Dave's strutting on over to Wolfie. The camera for once is, you know, showing Wolfie's standpoint. I guess since Dave walked over. Of course, Wolfie doing those background vocals, and Dave says, "Nice vocals, Wolf." That was kind of cool. Tattoo is next. Like I said, I'm liking it more than ever. Mini blackout on stage for about 5 or 10 seconds is the first of several of these. So you'll be hearing about that later on during this review. And at least with these minimal camera angles, it's also not one of these, you know, 50 edits per minute kind of thing. So you get nice long looks at what you're looking at, you know. So that's kind of cool. And it's mostly the camera that's in front of Eddie that they choose to use, which is awesome because, you know, who you want to watch closely, Wolfie or Eddie. So you're mostly watching Eddie on this concert. And Tattoo, I think, probably a little bit better on the record. Their live version of it, it's good. It's just not as great as the record, but, you know, it's live, so it's cool. Just so odd that it's just not even pay-per-view quality. Just sort of 2 cameras for the most of this show. You would think recording the live album, they might record the video too at the same time. So as far as I can tell, they didn't. Everybody Wants Some's next. I don't really love this at the level of, you know, popularity that it got to be. A lot of people love this song. I think it's just okay, kind of simple. Dave starts talking in Japanese here, one of many times where he will, and he sounds pretty fluent. I mean, I don't know Japanese, but to me he sounds pretty damn good. And during this trippy middle sequence to this song where it's kind of quiet, Dave's acting like it's, you know, he's on an acid trip or something. So finally you get a third camera view during this song, and it's, like I said, from 30 rows back straight on, which is, you know, I wish there would have been, as simple as it is, I wish there would have been a little bit more of it, because it gives you a little perspective of the overall stage. So Somebody Get Me a Doctor. Now this is more up my alley. I'll take this over Everybody Wants Some every day of the week, and sounds really good. I have to admit, I kind of miss Eddie's analog sound. Guitar tone just screams digital, you know. What are you going to do? It's how things are done nowadays. But anyway, on to the next song, Chinatown, the last from Different Kind of Truth. And I think the best live of the 3 that they do from that album. This one sounds really good. They did do Trouble with Never back in 2012 when I saw them, which, you know, that's not one of my favorite songs from that album either, honestly. But anyway, Alex on Chinatown, as always, makes tough drums look easy. Dude's just got his own sound, man. And you always know it as soon as you hear it. And it involves a lot of crash cymbals. You know, he's riding crash cymbals like all the time. It's just his style, and I love that sound. Really good version of this song. Would have preferred a couple more, like I said, but I'm not sure why they didn't do Blood and Fire. That one I love. So next on the Hear About It Later, I can't get enough Fair Warning. So this is another personal favorite, as it was when I saw them play it. Great backing vocals on this song. You know, personally, I have to tell you guys, I didn't miss Michael Anthony. I was so excited they were getting back with Dave. It was kind of like, oh, okay, as far as Mike not being there. I know somebody's probably like, what? It just didn't bother me. I never saw VH back in the day. Never saw them at all until 2007. So it's going to take them however I could get them, I guess. I thought the background vocals sounded great. And, you know, just like David Lee Roth said back in 2007, well, his last name is Van Halen, you know, so. But the bottom line is he can sing and play. So Hear About It Later was a favorite for me. Pretty Woman's on next. Dave sounds like he doesn't like that they even play this song. He's kind of mocks it a little bit in the beginning. I think I know this song, heard this before. And then he's really singing almost like a karaoke kind of style. Some of the singing he does sounds like he's really just doesn't want to be singing the song. But onto a drum solo, which is really kind of strange. I'll say that it's different, you know. This kind of like programmed bass and keyboard thing going on where there's like keyboard horns, you know. It all just sounds programmed, you know, and the sort of fusion of Cuban or Latin and Japanese styles of drums and sound effects behind Alex's drums. So it makes for a real different solo, I'll tell you that much. Now, I don't know if I really care for it that much, but it at least is something you don't see that often, rock concerts. So, You Really Got Me's next, more blistering Eddie playing. Tears this one up too, and the absence of close-ups, a little frustrating, but at least, like I said, the camera's mostly in front of Eddie. So after the solo, Dave requests a jam session, kind of pulls both Wolfie and Eddie to the middle of the stage, and they no sooner try to get that going, with Alex, of course, playing, and Dave yells, "Play some blues shit," to which they start to do it, and then Dave tries singing to it and kind of pretty lamely, just sort of abandons it, So I can appreciate the attempt at spontaneity here, but it kind of goes nowhere. Dance the Night Away's next. Dave tries a higher register here and really sounds like crap. I gotta tell you, he does this a few times during the show. I feel like during A Different Kind of Truth, that album, he could get like almost higher than he ever did when he wants, but it kind of only goes to one certain note or one certain key, and he tries doing that here on a few different songs, regardless of the key of the song he's singing, So he abandons it quickly when he tries it here on Dance the Night Away. He also tries some corny ad-libbing at the quiet part of this song. It's Dave being Dave, but it's a little weak for my liking. I'll Wait is next. Unlike 1984 and that tour, Eddie is on guitar instead of keyboards here. So keyboards somewhere off stage. We never see who's playing keyboards. Background vocals are a miss for a change on this one, I have to admit. The guys are not even trying to sing it as high as the record. It doesn't come across as a great version. It's kind of interesting hearing the guitar, though, louder in the mix than usual. And the guitar solo is awesome. The stage here is really beautifully lit, too. I took note of that. I'll Wait's kind of your mixed bag of not as great and cooler. And different, so at least there's that. And the Cradle Rock, this one's really good, a favorite of mine. Well done by everyone. Dave, overall, his singing on this show can be spotty, as you know, but on this one, he's pretty solid, sticks to the script, He's actually hitting some really high notes on this guy. And just as, like I said, on Different Kind of Truth, he gets to those notes, at least he does it appropriately on the record. So it's kind of the same here. Goes for those high notes where he can, and he actually gets to the right key too. So pretty killer version of And the Cradle Will Rock. Hot for Teacher. Man, I think the concert gets a little bit of a second gear going on from this point. Because this version kicks ass. Another one that kicks ass. Crowd favorite too. Once they start playing those drums, crowd roars. And the performance kind of delivers to back it up. Dave again sticks to the script. That's kind of a key here. When he decides to stick to the regular song the way it was recorded, things just sound better. And Alex kind of nails those drums, as cool as they are. Eddie sounds great. You get the first wide shot in 10 songs, which I think was Everybody Wants Some was the last time we had a wide shot. That camera from straight on in the back, finally get one of those. At the ending, it gets very dark. The song's not even over yet, so Dave yells, "Put the effing lights on." It's kind of cool. Such a great version that at the end of it, Dave says, "Wow, where do you go after that?" So it really was a great version. He's right about it. Next up, another killer in my books, Women in Love. Killer Van Halen 2 material there. It's probably my favorite album right at this time. Right up there with Different Kind of Truth. But for the last few years, Van Halen 2 has been my favorite. Loved it when they played it in 2013. Another one with really good vocals. Even Dave sounds good on this one once again. So he's got 3 songs in a row where he does a really good job. This tour's set list is so thorough, man. Just really, listen to this set list. It's great. I really couldn't expect anything more. Romeo Delight, another great one. And Mean Street to back that up. It's like the songs are getting better as the concert goes along. Deeper cuts versus, usually it's hits at the end. The set list is kind of packed with gems at the end. Nice. All around greatness, heavy as ever for Mean Street. Love it. Beautiful Girls next. Decent enough version, but nothing really special for me. It's good though. Now we get this goofy short film starring David Lee Roth as the assassin. You heard me right, the assassin. I won't ruin the end of this little short film. It's probably 5 minutes long. It's just, what's interesting is, like I said, it's the actual film. It's not just someone filmed the stage or what have you. It's the source film. So I guess it was played on stage while the band just took a little break. But it's kind of a weird time for a break. Concert's almost over, It's also on the Zodiac audio CDs. We'll talk about it in a minute. So, David Lee Roth, what can you say? It's almost like he probably said, well, I'll tour Japan if you let me make a movie when I'm over there. I wouldn't put it past him, because what's the point of this thing? I don't know. The greatest smacked ass of all time, David Lee Roth. But, man, I love this dude. Just give me some Dave Van Halen. That's what I just need every summer and every so often. Back onto the show for Ice Cream Man. Real interesting sequence here, all right? Now, Dave's usual sort of haphazard acoustic intro, all right? We're all used to that. Into maybe the heaviest version of the song I ever heard in my life. And a favorite, all right? I can't even believe I'm saying this myself. Ice Cream Man, which is pretty much an afterthought. Once I got beyond the first album, back when I was, 12, Ice Cream Man kind of became an afterthought. It's awesome here. The band's on fire with it. No pun intended there. Dave, he's as elusive as ever, but here I kind of like it because the band is just so strong behind him, like such a force. Dave's almost irrelevant, honestly. It's, Dave's surfing a tidal wave, basically, That's the kind of feeling I got. Now, one interesting thing I could say, too. I felt like up till this point, you had a couple of little moments. Band looks like a band. A lot of this show, they really just look like 4 different guys, on 4 different islands. They could sound great, they could sound good, whatever. They don't sound like a band. And, it would have been nice if it had. Well, now maybe it's just me, but that all kind of changes right here. And it's during Eddie's solo in Ice Cream Man. And first of all, Eddie's crushing. This might be his best solo of the night. For at least the 3rd time during this show, the stage goes dark. It's only backlit. And Dave yells, "Spotlight, asshole! Wake up!" And kind of coming to Eddie's defense in a way. Because, Dave, as much as he needs to be a star, he knows Eddie's an amazing guitarist too. And hears him tearing it up. And it's like I said, it's kind of like he's standing up for Eddie. Like, get the lights on this, dude. Are you listening? And after the song, Eddie makes a point to point over to Dave and tell the crowd, there's David Lee Roth, like, give him a hand. So I know we're towards the end of the show, but it feels like genuine good vibes start from that point on. And like I said, Dave demands the spotlight for Eddie Van Halen. So totally unselfish thing to do, which he got, by the way. Those lights went back on a few seconds later. All 4 guys are seen smiling about it at the end of that song, at each other, laughing at each other, and throughout the rest of the show, even though we're almost at the end. But it was just kind of a good thing. I thought it was a cool thing to see. I don't know if that's just me imagining it or what, but that's kind of how I felt. So Panama's next. Another one the crowd just loves. It's solid, it's heavy. Great version of this tune. Dave asks in Japanese how Wolfie's doing, so he gets a nice applause. Again, more good sort of vibes. The Eddie Van Halen solo is awesome at the end. This should be at this point of the show, like among your highlights of the night, right? The usual exhibition of licks, speed, tap harmonics. You get parts of Secrets, parts of Eruption. It's not just a guitar solo. It's like a clinic on the history of the guitar solo from 75 to 2013, basically. He's all over this guitar, mellower things, rocking things. Actually got a little teary-eyed watching this the first time I watched it, man. Kind of missed that he's gone, man. Glad I got to see him 3 times at least at the end there. And, losing legends like him just never gets easier, but they live on in these videos and these CDs. So, great solo. It's about 5 minutes long. Ain't Talking About Love. Finally, some longer audience shots. At Dave's request, by the way, he asked the cameraman to get some shots of the crowd. So, band intros at the quiet part. And again, during that section, Eddie takes the microphone to introduce Dave. Dave raises a checkered flag and runs across the stage with it during the Jump finale. And final word, guys, I think there's about 10 standouts on this concert, 8 or 10. Ice Cream Man and Hot for Teacher, believe it or not, probably the biggest, best songs of the night. Women in Love, Hear About It Later, Romeo Delight, a couple more. Packaging, as you've been seeing it the whole show, classic, bootleg cover, it looks great. That artwork always looks the best, you know. Also the Zodiac version, that's right here. That's their cover. And back to the Shades product. Showed you their covers during this review. So here's their disc. All right. Played fine for me, luckily. No issues with that. Now let's just talk briefly about the double CD. Zodiac once again on this one. Show you the packaging on that. Give you my overall feelings about it. Zodiac title 657. 2 silver press CDs as always from Zodiac. Great artwork. Really cool images on the discs. This deep red and black looks pretty cool. Of course, the band did release the official live album from the same show, Tokyo Dome Live in Concert, back in 2015. And guys, I have to be honest, I kind of forgot all about it. I never ordered that thing. Kind of assumed it's going to be really overdubbed anyway, as most official live albums are. By all accounts, I don't think this one actually is. So I kind of remembered about that album after I already had this one. And it turns out that I might have did the right thing by ordering this anyway. That Tokyo Dome Live in Concert is out of print. And to get a brand new copy costs you between $30 and $40. So, and it's also in Digipack. So if you're looking for jewel case and raw soundboard, that's what you're going to get here with Zodiac's version. So not a total screw up, I don't think, for paying about 30, 35 bucks for this. And I prefer things in jewel cases anyway, so that's the deal with that. Now the sound is really, really good. Very good plus, maybe excellent, I'll say. Claims to be soundboard, so is it actually a video lift? I'm not really sure. Sometimes video lifts sound off, although nowadays they're starting to sound more like soundboards, you know. So I think this one sounds really good. I'd give it like a 9 or a 9.5. A couple spots where things sound a little sort of flat. I don't know, that when I hear that, it doesn't seem to last long. Overall, things sound really sharp and clear here. So you get the whole show plus the short film. I'm not sure why you would want to listen to the short film, but it's on here. That's not on the Tokyo Dome 2015 release by the band. So anyway, 126 minutes altogether on these 2 CDs. So final word, guys, the video is great. You got to go for the Zodiac copy on silver press. If you want to save a few bucks, Shades as DVD artwork, just fine for me. It's very similar artwork on the covers. Overall, it's a really good show with, I think, probably 8 or 10 great performances. A couple are just amazing. And it's a solid show. As you know, nothing else out there pro shot from the bootleg market from Van Halen 2012 or 2013 until this guy. So kind of a must-have. Now, how much different is this one from the official album? It doesn't sound like too much, actually. It was put in Dave's hands, apparently, to produce that official live album. So I don't know. Maybe he did go back and redo some vocals, but it doesn't say that anywhere from what I can tell. And from reading some reviews of it, doesn't sound like people are too happy with the vocals. So it sounds like he didn't do anything as far as re-recording any vocals for that. Although I can attest to that. The Zodiac double CD sounds pretty damn good. Deluxe edition of Different Kind of Truth. Hey, if you could find it, reasonable price, go for it. 3 extra songs in black and white. It's really kind of cool, kind of campy, you know, and a good one. So, guys, that's going to do it for now. Everyone else, enjoy the rest of the summer. Get your Van Halen cranking. And I'll catch us next time. Everyone have a great friggin' day.